Greetings in the name Yah, the only name under heaven, given among men whereby we must be saved. Brother Arnold, one more time, and I'll try to quit harping on this, but I missed something, and it's very, very, very important. If we don't get the day of the new moon right, we can't keep lunar Sabbaths. We'll be off on our new moons and our Sabbaths for the rest of our life. Numbers 10:10. Also in the day of your gladness, Moez, Leviticus 23, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months, talking about lunar cycles, you shall blow with the trumpet on that day at the beginning, the lunar cycle, not the next day after the cycle has begun, over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifice of your peace offerings. These sacrifices and offerings are at the beginning of the lunar cycle, not the next day. Now listen, now I've done said this before, but I'm going to add to it. Listen, that they may be for you a memorial before your God. I am your Elohim, or God. Now, Numbers 10:10, and that's this right here. It says right here, also in the day of your gladness, in your solemn days, in the beginnings of your months, nothing else. Listen, or lunar cycles, you shall blow then with the trumpet over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifice of your peace offerings. I put the then in there. that they may be to you for a memorial before Yahweh, Elohim, or God. I am Yahweh, your God, or Elohim. Now listen. Notice, here's what I want you to see. Notice that each month, there's a day that the old moon or lunar cycle ends in that day. Listen, that solar day. And a new lunar cycle begins in it. Now, both in the same solar day. That's the day of the old one end and new one begin. But also notice that the scripture says it is the beginning of your months or new lunar cycle month, not the end of the old one. Ain't studying that. Listen, in which the sacrifice and offerings are prepared and blew over with the trumpet. In other words, at the beginning of the new cycle, which has to be the day of the conjunction, when one cycle or month ends and a new one begins in that day. Listen, and that's the solar day of the lunar new cycle, or the solar day of the new moon. It's the solar day of the new moon, or month, or cycle. Now please notice that the scriptures refer to the beginning of a new lunar cycle, when the priest offered the sacrifice and peace offerings, etc., for the new moons, and he blew over them with the trumpet. He would not prepare the sacrifice and offering, and I've said this before, and then wait till the next day to blow over them. I'll get to my point in a minute. With the trumpets, he would offer them and blow the trumpets over them on the same conjunction day. That's what happens when the old one ends, new one begins. That he prepared them. He would blow over them the same day that he prepared them. Now the scripture says in Psalms 119, 55 through 60, King James Version. It's the psalmist David. He was a man after God's own heart, the Bible said. He said, I have remembered thy name, O Yah. I thank Yahweh for that. In the night, and I have kept thy law. See, this is a law. Listen, what we're talking about is a law. This I had because I kept thy precepts. Thou art my portion, O Yahweh. I have said that I would keep thy words. I reiterated, I entreated thy favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me according to thy word. Verse 59, I thought on my ways, and I turned my feet unto thy testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. It's the commandment we're talking about here, to when to blow these and at appointed times and so forth. It's a commandment to keep the new moon cycle at the beginning of a new month. The beginning of a new cycle, listen. And I believe David observed the new moons at the beginning of the new cycle as the command of Yahweh to the priest and to the people, to worship on that day. The people worship on that day, as you'll see in Ezekiel 46, 1 through 12. It shows this if you look at it. Now, Numbers 10:10 is referred specifically to the beginning of the new lunar cycle and not the end of the old cycle. Now, listen, I cannot see how it can be intelligently argued against. I just can't see it. Now, I want to be like David, who was a man after Yahweh's own heart. Listen, at any rate, it was at the beginning of the new cycle or new moon that the worship day was ordained by the Almighty. Now, remember, I'm going to try to hush. Remember, Yahweh says that in the beginning of your months, how could he have said it in the plainer? Think about it. How could he have said it in the plainer to do it in the beginning of your months? I don't know how he could have said it in the plainer. What else could he have said to make it in the plainer? But anyhow, I'm going to hush. But we need to really need to look at this, because I got loved ones that love Yahweh and they keep his lunar Sabbaths. They think they're keeping his lunar Sabbaths, but you can't keep it if you don't start the right time. You're not going to be keeping them. You're going to miss every one of them, and the new moons too. And I believe that we go all somehow get on the same page. But like I said, I'll try to hush. Till next time, may Yah richly bless you. Shalom.